Welcome to FAMU Developmental Research School's podcast, Leadership Matters, with Superintendent Micheal Johnson, where we highlight the excellent leadership and achievement that defines our learning community. I'm Micheal Johnson, Superintendent here at FAMU DRS, and as I've said, I just want to know a little bit more about our guest, and our guest today is Dr. Patrice Floyd, the founder of Javacya, and she has a powerful story around arts, access, discipline, and representation in classical music, especially with our youth and youth development. We are honored to have her, and it's a privilege to sit down with her. I have many conversations with her, just finished a conversation, so really look forward to you as listeners and viewers to learn a little bit more about Dr. Patrice Floyd. So welcome, Dr. Floyd.
Thank you.
To my second podcast, and we wanted to go big, and so we went big.
Wow,
and we got
so honored.
Dr. Floyd. So as I stated earlier, we're proud to partner also at FAMU DRS with Javacya. Dr. Floyd, will you begin telling us a little bit about who you are, and then also that sweet spot about what Javacya? I remember, I even thought, Javacya, did she have a cousin named Javacya? Was that the name of the street she grew up? So we'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience, and then tell us a little bit about Javacya and the meaning of Javacya.
Well, thank you. As he said, I'm Dr. Patrice Floyd. I'm a violinist. I'm a professional violinist. And my name is Patrice Javacya Floyd. And that name, my mother really could never tell me, so I had to do my own research. And,
wow.
and as I researched, I found out that it just simply meant sweet cup of coffee. And I love coffee. When I go to, it doesn't matter whether I'm in Israel or Africa. I don't want to say Israel because when I tried to get get coffee from Starbucks in the airport, they said that Starbucks is not here. It didn't make it because the coffee, the milk, they didn't want to use kosher milk.
Oh wow!
So Starbucks didn't last. But every other place I've ever been, Australia, whatever, I have a cup from Starbucks. I love coffee and I love sweet coffee.
Sweet coffee? Well, maybe I can be sweet tea. I told you that before, and you sweet coffee. So what a good make. So you founded Javacya over 40 years. I think you told me you're getting close to 50 years. And you're 30?
Yeah, just yesterday.
Wow. What first made you believe in, why this was necessary?
Well, it actually grew out of... I don't want to say it was just circumstances. I was teaching my own children who they were 3, 5, 7,
yes,
and
ma'am.
They all wanted to play. And so many of the children in our neighborhood could not read. I put a sign up on the door when I was teaching them and other children private lessons. People would come in from the community. I have a sign up. Please go around the back. Well, they couldn't read yet, and so they would just inevitably knock on the door.
Music, they couldn't
read. They were so young. Yeah, they were so young. They couldn't read yet, and they would knock on the door and see us teaching private lessons to other children and my own children. And so before you knew it, I had kids in the neighborhood, kids coming from all around, and they outgrew the house. The parents were supposed to pick them up at 6. They're eating dinner. So after a while, my husband was saying, "Okay, it's time to roll out of here." And so we got our first building. We've had many buildings through the years because we just kept outgrowing them. But it grew out of my house. It grew out of my house out of a necessity. And when we would have enough private students, then what we would do is just have little recitals, and then we had an orchestra, and it just grew.
Wow. So let me ask you, just maybe fast forwarding a little bit if you need to go back, but it's really an interesting thing, and I this is one of the notes that I really highlighted. That I'm sure you were one of the few black classical musicians early on,
right,
in your career. How did that experience shape the mission for you personally, and I guess if I'd say personally, Javacya? So, starting out in that earlier phase.
It's interesting. In West Palm Beach, where I grew up, it was called the Palm Beach County Student Program. And when I began, there were 400 students in our county that started playing at the same time all over Palm Beach County. And it was because several Juilliard graduates came to the county and said, we want to teach music. Initially, it was diverse. As I got better, it became less diverse. And I was completely in another community of people who did not look like me. And all of my teachers none of my teachers were African American. It wasn't until later when I began to study privately that I began to work with a teacher who was African American. So my entire community was pretty much a Jewish community in West Palm Beach. And so I didn't really realize when I was young that I wasn't really studying music in my own community. I didn't really. It wasn't until when I got older and I would be competing for things. And then I would know I would win. We would know I was the winner. But because of segregation, integration had just happened. All of a sudden, I didn't win because of my complexion. And so shortly after that, I had a black violin teacher come in my life. And he would go behind the scenes. He was very well respected. The street is named after him now in West Palm Beach. That's how powerful he is. I mean, he was. That when things didn't go right, I would hear him go behind a door and cuss people out, just straight up.
Wow.
Because he was such a great violinist and a chemist. And he played the clarinet. And he played jazz. And he played cursive. Just a powerful man. And when even though there was a lot of racism, he had so much respect that when he spoke, it was like E.F. Hutton, commercial a long time ago. People listened. And all the times things would get reversed. And so I didn't realize I was black until I started losing stuff. Till I was losing competitions that I should have won. And because people didn't hear me, they saw me.
So for a young black violinist, female, what kept you ticking to keep going? I mean, and that's the resilience that we see for our people, in arts or in science. What kept you going, hearing that, to be where you are now and leading the way you're leading?
I think what really kept me going is having an African-American teacher as a private teacher really was helpful. But then the teachers in school, they were retired Juilliard graduates. When they came to the county, they weren't looking for white students, black students, Cuban students, because at that time it was a great Cuban migration into West Palm Beach. They were looking for students. And in the public school system, we had state-of-the-art training. It was not rushed. We had an hour or so of good training every day. They didn't see color. And so because they would recommend me for things, I could have been bitter, but I had 4 white women that were pushing me along, and then I had a black man later. Initially, it was them. When I would go to play competitions, they would not always be with me. Okay, they would be go sign up for this, and I would go, and then the racism would happen. But my teacher would push me. You can imagine what kind of what I didn't start studying with him until he was in his 70s. So you can imagine what he had gone through. And he would say, at that time, teachers would say all kinds of things to you to motivate you to go behind the scene and really practice hard. And say, nobody's going to give you anything. You're going to have to be better. You're going to have to be better. You see what happened? You have to be better. You have to be better. And they would even go as far as to say, if you would not have missed that passage, it would not have been a question. But because you missed that passage, the other person may have missed 8 passages. But because you missed that passage, you put yourself on blast, you might say. And so then that said, okay, you have to work hard.
Wow.
And pushing a student doesn't hurt a student. I don't know what today's parents are talking about. That's a whole nother subject.
No, that's actually a great segue into what I would like to ask you, because, this is my 30th year in education, and it's interesting when we talk about the drive and the push, because things that teachers said to me or conversations that I had early on with students earlier in my career, you kind of tame yourself a little bit now, not because I've changed, but how that push has changed so much. But one of my tags that I use a lot is leadership matters and teaching matters. So what you're saying to me as a student, that push from teachers and the way they pushed you really mattered for you.
It really did. When I wanted to give up, I could still hear their voice. And so I'm talking more to students now than I have in years. I had kind of stopped talking, kind of along with the lines of what you were saying.
Right.
You have to watch what you say. Some kid, the gentle parenting era is
Absolutely.
in, and you have to walk on eggshells. And with students, but then I started seeing, you're not working hard. You don't, and I begin to say things like, "Do you love yourself?" The student would look at me and say, like, they give me that look. I said, if you don't love yourself, tell me why. Well, why you say I don't love myself? I said, because when I ask you to practice, you don't go home and do it. If you love yourself the way you say you love yourself and you all of that, go in the room and do what I'm asking you to do 30 minutes a day and see how good you feel about yourself and see how your peers treat you. And so now I'm having these kind of conversations again, because this demographic of people that we're teaching now, I don't necessarily mean race. I'm just talking about the society, this new society of children. They don't really want to talk to you. They want to get to their cell phone. Their parents don't talk to them. Their parents are afraid of them. They're scared they're going to jump off a bridge if they say go wash dishes. All of that. And so now, particularly in our culture, now we have a dilemma. And I say our culture because we have not arrived yet. We still need to have. We still need to keep it real with our kids. I believe in AI. I believe in technology. But I tell my adult people, the adults that are in my orchestra, I'm sorry, but the people who don't look like you, a lot of times are writing the check.
Wow. Yeah.
And people who, if they do look like you, they're older, and you're going to have a conversation. You got to look them in the eye and act like you belong where you have to be on time.
Right.
All that kind of stuff. So now I'm teaching 15 and 16 and 17-year-old children who can't even hold a conversation.
So let me ask you, what do you see in students once they begin seriously studying music and the arts?
Most of the time, particularly we like to begin students. Not here at the DRS. We begin your students playing piano at 5 in kindergarten. Right. But the students that we begin at 3 years old, by the time they're 10, their mind is so sharp.
Wow,
they are so disciplined. Every culture but our culture, and when I say our, I mean the United States of America, insists that a child do something. In China, it's a sport and an art. In Canada, the entire school system is built on an arts integration system. The academic teachers sit down with the artists and they create a curriculum to stimulate learning in a child. The whole Canadian system is based on that.
Yeah, I learned that. I was in Canada at a school. I was a principal of an IB school, and it was Branksome Hall, I believe. And it's nothing like arts is integrated in almost everything that they do.
Right.
And so it's really interesting hearing you say that, because even with languages, we see that we're such a monolithic culture. But what you're saying is take the arts and integrate it with students, and you see what changed. Right.
And so the Royal Conservatory of Music in Canada, they are the ones that put that program in the system in Canada. And we try to do it as much as possible. They call it project-based learning in the United States. But to me, it's just plain old common sense. There's 7 letters in the musical alphabet. There's 7 continents. I'm gonna teach that at the same time. Whether I'm teaching violin, I'm gonna teach all of that. This music was written in the 1700s. Just trying to parallel it to a piece of art that may have been created during that time. So for our children who like to just watch TV or don't know anything about classical music, or their parents have not been exposed to anything, we have to just teach it all at one time. Teach where the music came from, about a black composer, white composer, what colleges in this area. You know, everything has to happen at one because we go to Disney World. We just want to go. We don't want to go to the Smithsonian.
Right.
Because our parents, this child's parents might not have taken them to the Smithsonian.
Right. So, you know, many people think that music education, and I'll use that term very loosely or liberal. You know, I know it's much more than just music education, but they feel like it's just about performance. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, we watch, you know, BET, or we watch, you know, TV One, and we watch the award shows, and it's the glamour of the lights flickering, or, you know, the crowd going wild. But there are some life skills that are way before the big lights.
Right.
What skills have you seen students develop starting out? You know, I'm amazed to hear at 3 years old. What skills are they developing from 3 moving on through, even through high school?
Mastering their emotions.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. We have one student, I'm giving an example. We have one student in our DRS program. His face is tore up all the time. And I finally figured out that he is so hard on himself. But when he gets upset, then he wants to go to the restroom.
Okay.
And we finally analyzed that when he doesn't get something after the first or second try, he's upset with himself. And we have noticed that the more mastery, he was the first one to insist on taking a violin home. He wanted to take it home before we really released him. And so one day we released it to him. Okay, we're going to trust you. He practices every day. His face is not tore up all the time. Because he knows because when he tears it up, then he starts switching. And then he's distracting the other students, okay, because of behavior, because they're paying attention to him instead of us. And so he knows now if you keep doing that, you're going to have to go sit somewhere else. And so now he's mastering his emotions. He's solving problems in the sense that he's not saying, you know, if I really want to be in this class, I need to control myself. And the more he masters, the more he controls his behavior. And then I can see the self-love. He's starting to love it. And I went into their class because I'm not teaching their class right now. And I went into his class the other day, and I said, okay, I told you I was coming to hear your class. Y'all kept asking me when I'm coming, I'm here. And he could not wait to show me that he didn't have to have his face tore up.
And what do you say to, and that's great, what do you say, and I think about in our community, you know, we're not as involved in the classical and the music, and so therefore I can't support my child at home with it. You know, is there a way that you have them to understand that they can still play a role in that child's development in music?
It's generally after a performance. Once we get to the first performance, then usually a parent will help us. But the reason why I think music teachers are so important is that we deal with the whole family. The whole family, because eventually when we try to motivate the parent to practice, to practice with the child. But at the same time, we try to find out why. Well, I'm busy. When I come home, I'm cooking dinner, and he just go in the room and do what I say. And I just tell him to go in, and he doesn't do. I said, but when he comes back, he hasn't practiced. Well, I don't have time. I say, well, I'm very direct. I say, I tell you what, if you don't take time, I'm gonna visit him at the jail.
Wow. So you say Joe Jackson wasn't missing it. It was just about the way he did it.
Right. Oh, I'm very, very direct with them.
Right.
You know, yeah.
What about the surrounding, you know, outside? Once students get around other students that are in the arts, in music, do you see a change amongst that cohort of students, you know, being around other students that are in the arts?
They become a society. It's like you know, band programs. The children are close. I don't necessarily do a lot of social media, but my company does, and my children and the staff who work social media for me, they're connected to people that they played with 30 years ago.
Is this what you're speaking of is more about control?
It's more about control, but it's also resources. People don't want to really say how much the black dollar means, or how much the minority dollar, the Hispanic dollar, the Asian dollar, all of the dollar. Our money matters, all of us.
Sure.
But if you minimize us and take us under one major umbrella, you get all the dollars. The dollars are not flowing into these individual culture, the individual societies where they may need to build up their culture. And before you know it, you have an arts desert, you have a food desert, you have a desert in all these communities, because everything's over here on that side of town, far out of the reach of the people that really need it. Or you want to put people who don't look like us in front of children who look like you and me, and they oh, they're so cute, but they never master, because you master more, like Venus' Arena and Tiger. Look at golf sales, tennis, it's never been the same. Because of us doing it. If you see me doing it, you're gonna believe you can do it.
I can do it as well.
Right, but the other cultures don't want to accept that.
So is it more about then? It's about the dollar. It's about control. But then, Dr. Floyd, what is it? Because your gifts and talents speak for itself. Your work with children speak for itself. And so, what is that umbrella that you're speaking about?
Superiority.
Okay.
You may be doing okay, but I'm superior, so I can do it better than you are. I can reach your children better than you can. Mm-hmm. I can do more for your children than what you can. Well, there's still a glass ceiling. We have to build our own orchestras, because you still only want 1% of us in your orchestra.
Right.
So, and it's supposed to be our orchestra, because my tax dollars are going to your orchestra. This is going from city to city. And so you could get in trouble because I'm having this conversation with you.
Well, I'm a very realist, because, this is conversations I have with my wife often. That's my best friend, and we're together all the time. But one of the things in comparison that I hear is folks always say, well, are they doing it at Florida High? And my colleague, Dr. Hill, and I have been really great colleagues. He's an African-American gentleman at Florida High. No knock to them, but kind of similar to what you're saying in the music world is the same as education. I said, well, I don't need to do it that way to reach my students. I'm doing it the way that I know that students who look like my children, who were students at FAMU DRS, can be reached.
Right.
And so it's not that they're doing it in a way that works for them, but maybe a lot of times don't work for our children.
Right. I had to tell a colleague who doesn't look like me when a group of people were very late to an event they were supposed to. They were late. I had to explain. So let me tell you something, brother. 5 people had to get in one car because no one had a car. Mm-hmm. My situation is different from yours. Each one of your people in your group had a car. 5 people had to get in one car. We have to do more to do what you do.
Absolutely.
And so unless you want to understand the system, you're going to need to be quiet if you're hanging out with me.
Right.
Because there's more going on than what you know. And then the people don't want to hear that. But it's the honest to God truth.
Oh yeah.
It takes more. We made at FAMU, all the music students may not be on scholarship. Mm-hmm. On music scholarship. They want to play in the band, but doesn't mean they're on a scholarship. They have to work 2 or 3 jobs, go to class, everything else. And so if they have to show up somewhere, they may have to illegally get in the car but they have a passion and they're good.
Right.
It takes more.
Well, it takes more, and thinking about you and conversations we have is, what sometimes you have to do to just get instruments.
Oh my
But
goodness.
once they get the instruments, they're able to play the music of Gabriel. They are ready to play. I once recently had a conversation, and I was asked, well, why is, this lab school in particular, this school performing at this level? I said, because we get students at a totally different level.
Right.
And so we're trying to catch them up just as you are. So The good thing about it for us is the blessing of you partnering with us with the gifts and talents that you have, and so and it's not just DRS. You're all over the city. We're just blessed that we say, "Come on, Dr. Floyd, and come with us." Why are those partnerships so important to be partnered with FAMU DRS? Why is that important to you?
It's important to me because no one is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. We've been saying it for 60 years. The civil rights movement is, 60 years old?
60. We hear it every day now.
Right? So no one is coming to save us yet. We have to save ourselves. And so I grew up in a different community. And I understand that the things that we struggle with and for, this not like that. You're not struggling to pay $50 an hour, $75, $100 an hour for a private lesson.
Right.
Our folk are. They're struggling to do that. And so my teachers used to say, teach everybody as if they're going to go to Juilliard. I fire people all the time from different schools in this city who come into a program that we may have at DRS or anywhere else with low expectations. And that's really the problem I have with people wanting to partner with us. I don't like a superiority attitude. I can't deal with that because my mama was somebody and I am too.
Right.
Most of the time what they're trying to teach, we've already taught it, but it may take a different way of learning because like you're trying to catch people up, we're trying to catch them up too. We're teaching the same students. And so we're coming from different situations. Not much has changed in the way of progression so far as academics. It has not changed. We may have more college degrees, we may have more cars or more houses, but that education divide, that struggle, it's 60
real.
years old is no time. It is just a small amount of time. Yeah. One lady said to me, I explained to a lady that one of my teachers in one of the programs that we have, her rent in a government housing project is $1,300 a month.
Wow.
For a 4-bedroom. She said, "Oh, that's not much, or that's a lot." She didn't know what to say.
Right.
And I said, "Well, the reason why." 2,000 apartment for 4 children. If each child will have their own bedroom. It's close to $3,000.
Right.
So a brand new project, $1,300 a month. That woman is working for that $1,300. She's not living there for free. They just tend to think that people are staying even in government housing projects, ignorance, for free. That woman has the same aspirations for her child as you.
Right. Right.
She just made that $1,300, maybe a little subsidy. You can't get $1,300. She makes $2,000 a month. Let's start with that.
Right.
The rent is $1,300.
So $700 left.
That's $700 left. Is that woman a vagabond? Is something wrong with her?
Right. Right.
No.
Right. Well, and with that, I recently heard you speaking. I believe last night, and we know, and I know, the importance of arts in school. I don't think it's been any time when it's been proposed to me, other than me asking how are we going to do it, what does it look like funding about your works with the arts in school. But the flip is we hear it being cut all the time in schools. Why is it so important to keep these arts? And if you can dive a little bit into your conversation last night was wrapped around the support of the arts in schools.
Well, these children that we're developing in our schools are going to be the same people that pour back into our community to make it financially vibrant. And so if you put in a little money, you're going to get a few results. A little result, and you're gonna have to bring in people to nourish your city artistically. If you don't develop it strongly in your city, you have to develop in every sector that it is. You can't just put all the money in the Florida State or the FAMU or Tallahassee State College. You have to put it into the community schools. Every school, high-level teachers, paying them a decent salary for them to stay. Because if you don't pay a good salary, tomorrow that teacher's gonna be gone. So we need high-level teachers in the schools with high expectations, and then after-school programs that are high-functioning to carry kids to the next level so they can go to All-State and do all these things. And that's how city becomes vibrant. Invest in the children. The children will become artists many times, or doctors or lawyers. They will become disciplined people and carry that society. They will come back home. If they go away, they'll come back home and give to that community. But if you don't pour into the arts and pour into the different things that people are doing to build a city will eventually become a desert.
So why are the high expectations and discipline so important in the arts?
Well, because the arts, people separate the arts from academics. The discipline is of mastery. It doesn't matter whether it's the art or whether it's math. Discipline is discipline, and so once a child is disciplined, that's going to carry over into everything that a child does. Remember, most of our students are not musicians; they're doctors.
Wow!
Look at Gallup Franklin, a Representative Franklin.
Right.
He started in our program at 3 years old.
I did not know that.
He was with us until I played the violin at his SGA inaugural. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? He was in our after school program. He was one of those children at our house at 3. Wow. You know, when we were young, and so it carries over. I like to call names because some of these people are so important. Dr. Zita Metlora in Cairo, gynecologist, came from Haiti. You know, just all these prolific people that have come through our program, but they early discipline, no pregnancies.
Wow.
They're with us, and you know what happens? At 11 years old, some dude would be talking. I say, dude, I'll be talking to this little girl. She said, you know what? I got to go to practice. I got to go to orchestra practice, or I have to go here. I got to go there. You know what? I've got to practice today. You know, they're hanging up on some guy.
But you know what, Dr. Floyd, hearing that and listening to you, I'll use my hashtag, leadership matters. How have you built such a strong program with your vision? Tell us, what did you visualize with this, and how close are you to it? Have you surpassed it? But leadership matters, and you're as far as you are, and you've touched as many lives as you have, and the names, but the leadership part is what I really focus on, trying to be a better leader.
Well, it's people like you that really helps facilitate it. We have had 5 satellite schools. So when people like you and people like you have a great partner in your other superintendent, Dr. West. When you guys decide that you want a program like this, whether it be here or Augusta, when leaders see us, other leaders see us, and they want it, they ask for it, and we go and do it. That really, really is like a sounding board for other communities around the country. Whether it be, we have proclamations from 4 or 5 different cities because we keep taking this program, satellite schools. Your program is called a satellite school,
right?
And we just keep taking it. But when you see when you believe in us and pour into us, then we pour to your students, and then those students pour into somebody else, and then we can take it to another city, and then here is this great FAMU umbrella, and what you all are doing, it's nationwide. This work, this is not a local work. I have not outgrown the city, but I have taken it other places.
I know you have. You travel and you go all, not just local, but overseas, and we were talking before we aired, you know, all the different places that in your modesties you've had impact. But with that impact, what are some of the lessons you've learned?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that if you love first, everything else comes. Everything, and I'm going to speak about, I rarely speak about me, I speak about Javacya, but everything I do, I'm doing it from a place of love. You know, my mother used to worry about me because I love people. From the time I was born, I love people. I care about people. The way I sow into other children, people are sown into mine. And, you know, my children are very successful. They didn't get to where because mama and dad are busy. Just like my mama was busy.
Right.
But other people, that village, and so it's a place of love. I love what I do. I love children. I love families. When I'm looking at these children, these families, they know these mamas and daddies, they know I get with them. I mean, what I mean is that I'm not going to take an excuse but see, that's one thing about me being private, a private school, a private program. Yeah. I can go away and say, listen, this is what I'm going to need you to do. Right. You know, the old school way, you know, and they believe in it. And it's just love. It's just love. It's just love. You know, I'm my brother's keeper.
But it also, with that love, is a keen eye for students, for teachers. Tell me, as a teacher, because I always say I'm forever a teacher, is there an identifying factor like this young man or this young lady would really benefit from some Javacya love, a sweet cup of coffee from Javacya? Is there a look for? Is it an identifying factor, or is it all? I don't know. I'm just asking.
It may be all, but your alumni Philip Bond, Rumlin Bond, how did I know he was going to be a great student? The first time he met me, he was in the 3rd grade. Every time he said, "How you doing, Miss Floyd? Did you have a good day?" Every time it's something about the personality of students. And they say, "How was your day?" This is what I practice. The communication. I could tell, okay, if he can communicate with me, I can communicate with him. Because the way he was communicating with me, I could communicate with him. And so it sparked something in me. And, you know, the little things he would do. And then he wanted to please me. The students want to please the teacher.
Absolutely.
Right? And then when they please you, then you reward them. And then you reward the parent. And tell the parent, great job. And then I spank the parent. I'm sorry, he's not practicing or she's not practicing. And they'll say, well, I told him. And I say, open the door. Open the room door, put the child in front of you. Those kinds of things. Parents don't always like me, I promise you, but I don't care about a popularity kind. But when you see it, you just keep not pushing the child and the parent. We watch them go through divorces. You watch them. I go to funerals when they bury their grandfathers and mothers, because it's beyond the music. Because when you're teaching a child, you're dealing with their emotion. The soul consists of the intellect and the emotions, the mind, the will. And so when you're teaching a student, particularly a student that's prodigy-like potential, you're trying to deal with the whole person.
But this young man is incredible. He is a talent.
We have hundreds of people like Philip.
Okay.
And I say that not to take away from him, but when you can find a parent that will buy into just the little things you say, it's just one word: practice. The practice has little to do with the mastery of the instrument as it does the child mastering himself. Is discipline. Like that little boy I talked to you about earlier. The discipline. When that child can control himself and decide what behavior he's going to have, how he's going to act, and what he wants to become. Because you know what? Children are lazy. Today's parents are lazy.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm maybe not supposed to say that out loud.
No, you're good. This is great. I've always said that, and this is just my belief, that this is education. It's a triangle. It really is. It's the child, it's the parents, and it's the school. Right. But for some reason here lately is the triangle has more broken away. I don't know if it's become a circle, what happens to it, but I will say when you see the parental involvement is when you can start seeing excellence.
It really is.
That seems like to me what I hear you're saying, that if you identify the child, but then what kind of support is that child going to have when they're identified?
Exactly. You have to have as a teacher. And this is why you bring teachers out of retirement in all the schools around the nation. Then I'll let you.
No,
I
you're
want to
good.
say this. My mother was one of the best teachers. When she passed, we saw all kinds of certificates. Title I. She was responsible for Title I that we had today. My mother was responsible for Apple computers. Just a lot of stuff that happened. She was the head of her reading and math department at her school. How you do that? She had 3 master's degrees, and she used to tell me all the time, I fire teachers every day. It's not popular, and it's back in the day.
Oh, absolutely.
She said because they sent home all the homework. Mm-hmm. And she said that after a while, she would send teachers, give them a pink slip, because at that time she had the authority. Because she would say, you are asking children to go home and do homework and their parents can't read. Get all you need to get done between the morning time and the afternoon, because you don't know what that child has at home. Not any lights, not any water. In the area where she was, it was a very poor area. They still kept slipping the homework home. And she kept saying, you go home and study. You go home and get a super lesson plan so you can figure out how to reach that child. That kind of stuff isn't popular anymore. Because you're teaching beyond because now we're back here. I promise you we're back here. Because where parents are so consumed with themselves, getting the next boyfriend, the next boo, or who I'm gonna hang out with tonight. They don't understand. It's hard for them to understand parenting, and so my mother didn't want to hear about home.
Right.
She said, "You have all day. Work on your lesson plans and figure it out. If you have problems, then come to me." But she would show them, she would have workshop after workshop to show them how to reach students and to motivate them to do it on their own. My objective is to motivate the child to practice. I talk to the parent over and over again, but after a while, I just forget the parent.
You say, I'm going to deal straight with the student.
I said, then I start giving treats. I say, listen, do you know how many, I give out Chick-fil-A cards in this program.
Oh, wow.
I
wish I'd have known.
Give out Chick-fil-A.
A brother get hungry every day.
We give out Chick-fil-A cards.
Wow.
Why? Just a little bit.
To
if they
give
only,
them
motivate them.
You know...
I'm sorry if that's off the cuff, but I'm just...
This is good.
We're losing our children, and so that's why I'm going back to her model.
The passion is I think, something we need, especially for our black students, because our community... I love what you say all the time. No one's coming to save us.
Nobody.
And so if we don't do it, no one else will. And so I appreciate that. And one of the things I hope that the listeners have really gained for you, and if I was a parent and wondering about the arts, I would say, man, maybe I need to have my child with Javacya from a very young age.
Right.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's really what it's going to take, because we see, and I can say at DRS, we see the change in students by being with Dr. Patrice Floyd. We see the Phillips, and it's great to hear that there's hundreds of others. Dr. Floyd, I want to come back to a question, because I think it really describes your works and your creativity and what Javacya has truly meant and done. But as an educator and an educational leader, how can we better identify creative talent in students who may not even see the talent or know they have the talent inside of them?
My answer is going to be really off the cuff.
That's okay.
The worst child, what you would call the worst child in the class, is probably your most creative child. Now that sounds, you say, wow, do you know that I was tearing up my school before I started playing the violin? My mother was going to lose her job in the Palm Beach County school system. She had gone through a divorce, and I was mad. So I tore up anything. I was just a mess. I was every day I tore up something. My mother would have to drive 25 because of integration now. It just happened.
Oh, okay.
She'd have to drive from a black school in Riviera Beach all the way to the north part of West Palm Beach to come and get me, because I would have tore those people's place. And when I decided that I wanted to play the violin after a group of people came to the school to play, that's how I chose the instrument. What we discovered is that because it was a touch feel instrument, like the piano, the keys are right there. The violin is touch feel. As I got better at playing, developed a little vibrato, all of that savage beast, that angry person, it began to dissipate. And so that's why I'm paying attention to the little boy whose emotions, that's why I say emotional mastery. The better you feel about yourself, the better you feel about your environment, the better you feel about the people around you, but most about yourself, you can pour that into the music. And Einstein said that when he would get confused or wouldn't be able to figure out something that he was building scientifically, he would just go to the piano or his violin. And he said, then that front of that lobe, the brain, the front of the brain, that CEO of the will come into action, so to, and he would figure out that he'd go back and work. And it's the same way when the child that's doing the worst, doing the most, is probably your most creative. He probably has so much. It's just hyper. I was just hyper. It was anger, but I was just hyper.
Right.
And that violin, it soothes me way more than it soothed you.
Wow. So that brain development.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then my mind settled, and I was smart underneath all of that foolishness I was doing.
So you are your first identifier.
Like African people say, hey.
Yeah, you self-identified.
Right. I am a product of my own instrument.
So what we have to do is know that even some of our most disruptive students may be the ones that we need to tap into. And we've heard that forever, the most.
My mother would tell me all the time. She called in the afternoon, what's all that noise? What's all that noise? I said, they just make it to, I can't. This classroom, these kids just so bad. I used to say that to her.
Right.
She said, you need to peer teach. Mm-hmm. Get the child who knows the most. To teach the child who's not getting it. There's a reason why he's not getting it. Put the child and give leadership skills. Give the worst child the most to do.
Dr. Floyd, I see a book. We need it. It's needed, and it's just a blessing that I get to see you often and see what you're able to do. And speaking of that, I know we have a huge event with Javacya coming up here at FAMU DRS. So I want you to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to do my getting to know you a little better rapid fire.
Okay.
But I do want to make sure that the folks know it can come witness and understand that we're not just blowing smoke through the mic. This is really living music that is going on with Javacya. So talk about what you have going up here coming soon at FAMU DRS.
Yes, well, on June 29th, I hate to say I hate throw them in the garbage.
Yeah.
On June 29th, 6:15 p.m. in the FAMU DRS cafetorium, we're going to be doing a tribute to Prince, Maya Angelou, Misty Copeland, Michael Jackson. We were going to do this before the movie came out. And we're going to be singing.
Wait, these are like some of the biggest black stars, Michael and Prince?
All of them. We're going to be playing all the music live. Dancing live. We're building a stage in front of the stage, so that we have a music camp, and this is the culmination of the music camp. With difference, all year we're teaching just orchestra, but during the summer we get a chance to do dance. We have we all the instruments. We get a chance to do singing, everything, and so we have the professional orchestra merging with the children to do all kinds of public. This time more spoken word. We've never done so much spoken word, but I want them to start saying who they are.
Right.
So they're learning some great poems through music, spoken word. Just like you go. I hate to say it, like when you go out to a club,
right,
and you got that spoken word. We got that Jill Scott vibe going. We got that going, and then we got the dancing, the Michael, and that full orchestral. Last year we did Roots. My son wrote the score for Roots was not written. was not written. My son wrote it, the music, the theme. He wrote that for us. Well, we're doing Purple Rain. We're going to do Purple Rain. I'm trying to tell you, if you don't get there early, you won't have a seat. Do you know that that's one of the largest concerts we do now? Do you see how packed that place is? Right, FAMU DRS. That concert is packed. It's going to be packed again because you have even more children in the camp. The more kids, the more parents.
Last year I'll admit it, I was so amazed and just got me a little camera, and I was over in the corner because it was so impressive in the set, and I was snapping pictures, and then they came on the mic and said, excuse me, for those of you taking pictures, please refrain from that. And I was like, oh boy. But I was so impressed. But I didn't stop taking.
But you remember that was a mistake. I told my husband to tell them to stop flicking the lights, and he went and told y'all not to take pictures and videos.
Man,
that was funny. That was funny.
I'm going to tell everyone to get here for that. And, if I can figure out a cameo, something, let me do it, Missy or whatever. I'm just excited to see how you're going to honor Missy Copeland for her talents in dance. And so excited, building a stage.
Yes, building a stage that we'll have every time we have a show now, and if we have dance. Because I want to bring the orchestra up. I don't want them on the floor this time. So orchestra be in the back.
Wow. How many artists because it is your professional artists along with our students. Right. It's a collage.
It's a collage. It's like last year. Last year there were 40-something people in the show.
Right.
And when we did the show at FAMU recently, there were 70 people in that show.
Yeah. I don't think not. My wife and I don't miss too many Javacya shows, and so I'm super excited excited to be here in our home of FAMU DRS.
So honored to be on this campus.
And again, it's June
29th, 6:15.
At 6:15.
Yes.
And we'll be making sure that it gets out in our communications and on our marquee.
And we'll put it on the signs out there. Have the signs put on. I want the graduation signs to go. After that, we'll start putting up the signs for the show.
Absolutely. So those will come down after Saturday's graduation.
Okay.
I'll present those to the students. So once we're done with that, super excited. But I can't let you go without the rapid fire.
Okay.
Questions. And so again, it's just me trying to get to know a little bit more about Dr. Patrice Floyd. So you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Favorite instrument to hear performed live?
Cello. The cello.
The cello.
The cello.
Okay. The cello. One word that describes Javacya.
Approachable.
Approachable. Early bird or night owl? I know this one.
Early bird.
Yeah, early bird. 4 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
7 days a week?
Yes.
Even on Saturday?
It's Saturday, so nothing changes.
Wow. Favorite composer or musician of all time?
Actually, it's not a classical composer. It's James Brown.
James Brown.
The best show I've ever gone to in my entire life. I've heard the Russian symphony play. Oh, James Brown is one of my favorite. His music, his style of music, is just one of my
I never would have guessed that from him. He felt good.
He felt good.
Okay. What's harder, teaching music or leading an organization?
Leading an organization.
Leading an organization.
For sure.
Adults.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Especially today's children, today's generation. They're my staff.
Yes, I've said that. The kids I expect. I'll leave it there. Song that instantly lifts your mood.
The Pathetique Sonata by Beethoven.
Wow. You know what mine is? And I usually don't even say that, is Favorite Things.
Oh, really? Okay.
John Coltrane.
Okay.
Yes. One quality every young leader should have.
Integrity.
Integrity, absolutely. Coffee or tea before rehearsal?
Coffee.
Before rehearsal?
Before rehearsal. I'm hybrid. I'm already on 10. My husband will tell you 24 hours a day. I want to be on 20 when it's time to work.
Oh, boy, I'll keep you at 10. I can't. Floyd at 20, good Lord.
It's something else.
But so coffee not only helps, but it helps.
Yeah, it really helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biggest misconception about classical music?
that it's boring. You just have to find what you like. But because it's not boring. It's not boring. It's exciting.
Okay. Because most people think...
it's exciting.
Okay. And you make it very exciting.
I appreciate it.
Last one of the 10. Finish this statement. Every child deserves the opportunity to...
Be somebody.
Be somebody. All right. There you go. Thank you for joining us and spending a little time with myself and the great Dr. Patrice Floyd of Javacya. Again, I'm Superintendent Micheal Johnson, and this is our second episode of Leadership Matters. Today's discussion was powerful, and it was a reminder that education does not just happen inside the school. Education happens inside, outside, and most of all with many people involved in that student. And as Dr. Floyd told us, the importance of identifying that student who we sometimes do not identify, which I think explains or is who Dr. Floyd said she was, and I can be very honest, it is who I was as a student. I was not identified to do the things that I have been able to do. I wasn't identified as the one that one day would go to Harvard University. And so it's important for us to dive in and really respect all students and feel the best. And I think with that, that's what defines Javacya and makes it really special. Again, we appreciate the work that Dr. Floyd is doing every day with Javacya Conservatory, and continues to open doors and opportunities for many children. So, however, I would encourage you to invest in Javacya, invest in the students at Javacya. These things don't just happen without finance and resources. So thank you so much, and we look forward to our continuous works together.
Thank you so much. I'm honored today.